Hey, what's going on, guys? Rome Gaming here. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention some of my socials in the description of the video. If you want to support the channel, please check those out. If you want to support the channel in other ways, please consider just dropping a like or a nice comment somewhere in the video. It really helps the algorithm push our content out there to a broader audience. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy the episode. Hey, what's going on, guys? Rome Gaming here, back into the video. Today's episode, we're going to do a quick pre-patch guide on Holy Priest in War Within. We're mainly going to talk about talents and changes. At the end, I'll kind of give my final thoughts on how I feel that Holy Priest is feeling at the moment. We're also going to go over like the basic rotation, a basic damage rotation for the beginners. If you've never played Holy Priest before and you are still trying to decide on a healer to play in War Within. Now, for starters, Holy Priest is probably the easiest healer to get started with. So if you're brand new to healing, I do recommend picking up either this or Restoration Shaman, just to kind of get a very straightforward general feel of healing. Now, that does not mean that healing on Holy Priest is easy. Healing, as we could probably all agree, is the hardest role in World of Warcraft, but of the healer roles, I find Holy Priest to be the easiest to get started with. I think it's the most straightforward. Okay, let's get into some core changes. Of course, we're not going to go over absolutely everything, every single little buff, especially to like some minor changes like 10% buff on flash heals, stuff like that. We're just going to go over most of the core changes. So the first big one is Divine Hymn was buffed by 400%. So now this is going to be an even stronger cooldown for us. It's still a pretty long cooldown. It is 3 minutes. And then one thing to note here, this will also do reduced healing beyond 5 targets. So once you get into more of a raid setting, this will not be as powerful of a cooldown. We did see some minor changes over here to the priest class tree. First one's going to be Cauterizing Shadows. So this will actually heal an ally if you refresh it with less than 5 seconds remaining on its current duration. Or if you just let it expire, it will also do the healing as well. Down here at the very bottom, we have Phantom Reach. This is a new talent, and I believe this replaces our Mind Games. So this is going to increase the range of most of our spells by 15%. And Mind Games has now moved to a PvP talent. Now, outside of that, guys, that's pretty much it in terms of the changes for Holy Priest and just Priest in general. Again, there have been some tuning changes to like Sanguine Teachings here. The leech has been adjusted a bit. I believe Void Tendrils now only lasts for 15 seconds. It was 20 prior. We've also had, again, some scaling changes with like Power Word Shield, some slight buffs here to Flash Heal, etc. But for the most part, that's all the changes that we're seeing for Holy Priest. So I guess Blizzard is pretty happy with the current state of Holy Priest, and they decided to focus most of the changes into the hero talents. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about healing. So Holy Priest healing focuses on 2 main things, and that's going to be your Holy Word Serenity and your Holy Word Sanctify. So just to bring up our spellbook here, you can see Holy Word Serenity. This is going to be your single target heal. So perform a miracle healing an ally for X amount. And then the cooldown's reduced by 6 seconds when you cast heal or flash heal. This has 2 charges. And then we also have Holy Word Sanctify, and this is going to be more geared towards AoE healing. So very similar to Serenity, releases a heal and an AoE, and the cooldown is reduced by 6 seconds when you cast Prayer of Healing and 2 seconds when you cast Renew. So the whole idea of Holy Priest is really to play around your 2 holy words. And then we also have our mastery here, Echo of Light. So our mastery is really good because this makes health bars a lot less spiky. And basically what this is going to do is this is going to put a heal over time effect on the target that you direct healed. So this is really nice for just kind of passive healing throughout your group. So really what you're focused on is using Holy Word Serenity and Sanctify and reducing the cooldown of those holy words through your other spells. Now, one of the things I didn't talk about there was Renew. So we are not going to be casting Renew at any point during our rotation. So that is one of the main mistakes that a lot of people make who are new to Holy Priest, is they are hard casting Renews. Renews should pretty much be taken off your bar because it's just not powerful enough for us to be using. It doesn't heal for that much, it costs mana, and it uses a global. So in Season 3 and 4 Dragonflight, we're actually able to get Renews. You can kind of see here from our Holy Words. That is being removed and Dragonflight. So really Renew is just getting removed from the picture altogether. Probably the only way that you're going to be getting Renews out is going to be through our Benediction here. So if we do cast Prayer of Mending, we have a 12% chance to leave a Renew on each target it heals. So that brings us into Prayer of Mending. So I like to think of this almost just like a hot that you throw out. You set it, you forget it, and you just cast it on cooldown. Prayer of Mending, for the most part, does all the hard work for us. I do believe that this is a smart heal as well, so this will bounce to the lower health targets. The way this works is you press it, you throw it out, you get basically a heal over time effect with 7 charges, and this will bounce around your party members, almost kind of like a chain heal. If you're familiar with Restoration Shaman, it's just going to kind of bounce around and do healing for you pretty passively. And right now we are also currently running Divine Star. I do believe this will probably change when War Within is released, as the Archon tree really focuses around Halo. But for right now, we are running Divine Star, and basically you just throw it out. It will heal all targets in its path and damage, and it will return to you almost like a boomerang. So to show you what that looks like, we'll run up to these targets here. We'll cast it out. You can see it healed and it did damage, and it returned to us. Now, another thing that we do have is we have our Holy Nova spell. And if you can see up here in the top right, it's at 20 stacks due to a talent called Rhapsody. So if you're not familiar with what Holy Nova is, you just press it. It does a big AoE heal like this, and it also does damage. So kind of similar to Divine Star, but more of an AoE effect. And by itself, Holy Nova is a pretty weak talent. But when you do have, like, say 5+ targets, it actually does become fairly strong. And then also when you have 20 stacks, it is fairly strong as well. Okay, we kind of talked about abilities. Let's go into our rotation. Let's start with our Mythic Plus healing priority. So you always want to start a pool with Prayer of Mending. You want to make sure that you are casting this on cooldown. You want to make sure that you have as many Prayer of Mendings out at as many charges as possible, as often as you can. So once that is out, we will use Holy Word Sanctify for AoE healing. We will use Holy Word Serenity for single target healing. Now after that, we're pretty much just spot healing with Flash Heal. We do have just our normal heal, but for the most part, you're not going to be using that too much. It is an efficient spell. It does have a good ratio in terms of how much you're healing for the mana that it costs. But for the most part, through Surge of Light procs, so Surge of Light, your healing spells, and Smite have an 8% chance to make your next Flash Heal instant cast and cost no mana, stacks to 2. So due to Surge of Light, typically we're just going to be sticking with Flash of Light. This makes it pretty efficient. It's fast. It does pretty good healing. So in terms of your rotation, that's pretty much it. I mean, you're going to prioritize Prayer of Mending, Divine Star, and cooldown. You're going to use Sanctify for AoE healing and Serenity for single target healing, and then spot healing with Flash Heal and Surge of Light proc. Now let's talk about our damage rotation. So our damage rotation will pretty much consist of Holy Fire. So we'll bring that up really quick. Holy Fire here on a 10-second cooldown. You cast it, it puts a dot on the target, and it does some direct damage. Now Holy Fire does synergize with a talent here called Imperial Blaze. So your Holy Word Chastise causes your next 2 casts of Holy Fire to be instant cast, cost no mana, and incur no cooldown. In addition, refreshing Holy Fire will extend its duration by 7 seconds. So not only do we have Imperial Blaze, we also have Burning Vehemence here. So it increases the damage of Holy Fire by 30%, and it will deal 75% of its initial damage to all nearby enemies within 12 yards of your target. So this will turn Holy Fire into basically an AoE spell. So Holy Fire will be your main priority damage spell, and there is a small combo that we can do with it. So we can cast Holy Fire, we can Chastise, right, because that will reset the cooldown on our Holy Fire, and then we get 2 instant cast Holy Fires. And you can see I just bursted 130k damage. So again, the reason we got that reset on the Holy Fires is due to Imperial Blaze here. So 130k damage isn't that much. This character is not that geared. On a more geared character, you'd be seeing double or triple those numbers. And that's where a bulk of your damage is going to come from, is right in that small combo. Now, not only do you have that, you can of course follow that up with a 20 stacked Holy Nova. That would do quite a bit of damage. You see right there, it did 250k damage in 1 button press and 1 global. That's insane. Then of course we have our Divine Star, which will be doing some damage for us. And then outside of that, really we're just focused on Shadow Word painting our targets, right? So you want to target up all the dummies. You're going to try to get 5 stacks on that. You want to Holy Fire into a Chastise, into a double Holy Fire, into a 20 stacked Holy Nova, into a Divine Star. And that's pretty much your general sort of opener. Then from there, you can go into smite spams at 4 or less targets. Then 5+, you can go into Holy Nova spam. Okay, let's briefly talk about cooldowns and then we can wrap the video up here. So we have Divine Word. Let me pull it up. So Divine Word here to read it out. The effectiveness of your next Holy Word, Serenity, Sanctify, or Chastise is increased by 30% and grants a corresponding divine favor for 15 seconds. So you get a flat 30% buff to those spells, plus you also get one of the corresponding divine favors below, one of the 3. Of course, you know, depending on which one you cast. It's a really strong button on a short 1-minute cooldown, really nice. We also have Apotheosis here on a 2-minute cooldown. This is really good, and you want to be using this pretty frequently on bigger trash packs, not only for the healing that it does by reducing your Holy Words cooldown by 300%, but also it reduces the cost by 100%. So if you have good uptime on Apotheosis, you're going to see a big mana return. So then a big cooldown here, we have Guardian Spirit on a 3-minute cooldown. This is just like a huge single target heal. If you have somebody who's about to die, you can pop Guardian Spirit on them. You get 60% additional healing. And if that target were to die, the spirit will sacrifice itself and restore that target to 40% HP. Now, right below it, you could take Guardian Angel. And if that target were to die, instead of the spirit sacrificing itself, it actually won't sacrifice itself and it'll stay there for that remaining, whatever the remaining duration is on that spirit. So not only does it save the target, you also get to keep that 60% additional healing. Then you can't have a Holy Priest Guide without talking about Power Infusion on a 2-minute cooldown. The strongest cooldown in your kit, probably by far. You want to be putting this on your top DPS. If you're new to Holy Priest, you're not sure, or maybe you're coming from Classic or something, you're not sure how Power Infusion works. You put it on a target, it increases their haste by 20%. It's super strong. This is something you do want to coordinate with your group. Now we do have Twins of the Sun Priestess here. So Power Infusion can be also casted on yourself if you use it on another ally. So this means you never want to be casting Power Infusion on yourself. You always want to be casting it on somebody else because you will get the effect as well. Overall, probably the strongest cooldown arguably in the game. Last few cooldowns here, then we'll be done with the video. Desperate Prayer, 1.5-minute cooldown. It's basically a built-in health pot. It heal you for 40% of your max health, 1.5-minute cooldown. Put it right next to your health potion button is what I typically do. Then we also have our Shadow Fiend on a 3-minute cooldown. This will do some damage. I don't think it's super significant, but this will regenerate 0.5% mana each time it attacks. So really good. You want to try to be using this as much as possible. Once you get below like probably 80% mana, I'd be casting Shadow Fiend to top yourself off. Then we also have Symbol of Hope here on a 3-minute cooldown. This is going to help you recover mana as well. And this is also going to recover your allies' major defensives. So that's obviously going to change per class, per spec, whatever. But it is something that you do want to be working into your rotation as much as you can. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. It's a little bit more in depth than I was hoping for it to be. But, you know, if you're a beginner healer, beginner priest, whatever, hopefully this kind of sheds some light on the spec. And hopefully it can help you make a decision going into War Within. Again, I do not think we'll be running Divine Star going into War Within. I think that will actually change to Halo, just because the Archon tree really focuses kind of around Halo. So I do see that changing, but for the most part, this is probably going to be the tree that we're running in War Within. Again, I do kind of categorize Holy Priest as the best beginner healer to pick up. So if you are new to healing, I would highly recommend to test out Holy Priest, see what you think for yourself. Not a lot of button bloat, very straightforward damage and healing rotation. And then it's a reactive healer, not a proactive healer. So you can kind of react to the damage instead of trying to predict the damage. If you guys enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel and check out my socials in the description of the video. See you on the next one.